I think a lot of you guys are going to find that today, that you have the skill, but the current vehicle that you're in cannot get you to where you want to go. So you just have to get super honest with yourself, and that's where big movements start happening, when you understand, can the vehicle I'm currently in get me to my desired destination? I always come back to two things. It's either a person or a process that will take you to the next level. I've been coached and mentored by some of the best people in the world, some of the best speaking coaches, some of the best business coaches, some of the best marketing coaches. And combining all those skill sets that people have taught me have allowed me to go to a different place. You combine that with top systems, top processes, it's game over. And that's exactly what we're going to show you today, is we have built a system, a process that is so consistent, so predictable, that I believe that anybody can take this framework and really explode their business. So before we get started here, we're going to get really into the Optimize, Amplify, Scale framework, and I'm going to kick us off here and really go over a lot of data, a lot of numbers. And I saw it in the chat box earlier, is we do not make emotional decisions. We make decisions based on data, and that'll remove the emotion from a lot of your decisions and help drive you to the appropriate pathway. So taking what you learned today, implementing and taking action will change your life. I have worked with some of the top agency owners in the country. They all share one common trait. They find something that's going to move the needle in their business, and they take immediate action towards it. They implement, they take action, they go. And that is what the top performers, that's what the people that I've worked with that are doing 8 figures, that have sold for 9 figures, that's what they do, is they find an edge. That's the one thing that I'll take away, is if I can find an edge with a person or a process, I am going to run towards that full speed sprint, probably run through a wall if I need to get that edge. So that's the one thing I urge you to today. Seeing a lot of great stuff in here. Team, if we're going through there, and you'll see our team throughout here, you're going to get to meet them throughout the day, and that's the one thing that you're going to understand, is nothing, absolutely nothing great is built alone. And we have an incredible team that I can't wait for you guys to meet today. I mean, that's the beautiful part about today, is I'm going to show you the high level view here, but then I have all these specialists that are going to pour into you today with what they do best. The best sales trainer on the planet, the best marketer on the planet, the best cross-sale into Medicare life insurance trainer on the planet, the best brand builder on the planet, in my opinion, the top hiring, the top developer. All those people are going to be at your fingertips today, and I cannot wait to share what I believe. I'm so lucky to work with these people every day. If you have the proper framework, the proper system, the proper structure, which we're going to give to you today, if you have these different things, it can happen extremely fast. It doesn't have to take 10 years like it did for me. If I look back in the book Dynasty I wrote in the book, like the one thing I would do differently is I would have found somebody that had a system and did everything I could to work with them and learn from them and do whatever it took to learn that. And it would have expedited me dramatically. So that's present day. And when I look back, we were developing this framework and I didn't even know it. And let's keep going back to numbers here. Put a 1 in the chat box if you've heard of this framework, the Optimize, Amplify, and Scale framework. This is the framework I go around the country teaching, and that has completely changed my life, completely changed the life of many other agency owners we've worked with and agents. And it's a very specific framework, but again, I didn't realize I was doing this. All I was doing in 2016 to 2019 is I was optimizing this incredible sales process that delivered a high revenue per client, that was very structured and could spit out high-performing producers. In 2023, this is when we amplified, and I developed a marketing system, and I learned from a marketer and a webinar system, and I made it, in my opinion, about 10 times better. And we did a lot of different things with it that amplified this incredible sales process. So all I did is I optimized internally, and then I amplified it with a marketing system. I believe that you amplify what's good, right? I would never want to spend money. In my opinion, amplifying is when I'm forcing something out to the market with money. So paid ads or billboards or TV or whatever, I'm spending money to amplify an optimized process. I would never want to optimize something that's not good, right? And I'm going to give you numbers that help you understand if you're optimized and if you're ready to get to this amplify portion. But then once you amplify and you push it out to the market, all that's left to do, is scale with incredible people and systems. So that's the framework that we're going to be getting into today. So understand, this is a big org chart now, right? This is this big fancy org chart. This all started with just me. So here is year-over-year growth. And again, look at 2022. We were doing under $1 million in revenue. And since then, we've doubled our revenue. We're well on pace for $14 million in revenue this year. I think we can explode through that, but want to be conservative in our projections of what we're doing this year. And we're going to teach you exactly this framework that's allowed us to do this so quickly. So our average revenue per client is over $1,500 per new client. The average Medicare agent is doing $400, maybe $500 in revenue per client. So understand, just by improving your sales process, which I believe is your biggest opportunity, it's not more leads, it's taking the leads you have and monetizing them to their fullest. This is your biggest opportunity. And this is what we are the specialists at, is taking an agent and consistently getting them to produce $20,000 a month in revenue per rep. There's nobody better in the world at teaching how to do that than us. When it comes to revenue per client, it's simple math. You keep doing what you're doing today and put in the chat box, what is your revenue per client? And don't lie. Don't you even think about it. We can see it from a mile away. What is your revenue per client?
6 minutes.
I got 6 minutes to keep us back on track. We might go a little longer, okay? $400 in revenue per client. Let's just do simple math here. If I bring on 100 new clients, I bring on $40,000 in new revenue. Just by improving your sales process, not finding any more clients, the same 100 clients. If you can get your average revenue per client to $1,500, holy smokes, you've had a banner year. And think of when you can get 15, 20 Medicare reps to do that at a time. It gets really, really fun. So I'm going to breeze through this. Travis is going to talk about this, optimizing. So step one is we optimize. And how do we do that? This is the only options that our clients ever see, is the menu. And when you go to Starbucks, when you go to McDonald's, when you go to Wendy's, when you go to Burger King, I'm just naming all the old fast food restaurants, and you ask for a meal, what is the first thing they ask you? What do they ask you? I want the number one. I want the number two. Would you like that in a small, medium, or large? That is the exact same way that we are selling insurance. Small, medium, or large. Consumers are programmed to pick from a menu. Everything you do is basically from a menu. So you should be selling insurance in the exact same way. If you notice here, our Umbrella One, our small, there is no option to choose a Medicare plan without an additional policy. When you don't offer an option without additional policy, it's pretty hard to buy an option without additional policy. They literally have to ask for it or they can't qualify for it. So we show this over and over again. This is how we embed umbrella coverages, we call them. Here's your first year commission breakdown on an Umbrella 3, and that includes your Medicare product, a cancer, heart, and stroke, a dental, vision, or a hip, and a recovery care. This is street commission. So I assume a lot of people on here may be above street. This is worst case scenario on an Umbrella 3. $1,700 in revenue per client. Absolutely explosive. Takes your revenue per client from $400 all the way to $1,700. You can do the math there. That's quadrupling your agency without any additional work. So I'm going to bring in, quick transition here. Again, no questions. We don't have time for questions. I'm already getting some snickers and some smirks and some dirty looks in here that I went over. So we're going to bring up Travis Govey to the stage. And Travis has been the longest. He's my first hire. And to watch him develop over the years has been absolutely phenomenal. He leads our internal and our external agents across the country. And he gets them to $20,000 or more in revenue per month on autopilot. Our sales system is bar none. And Travis is going to walk you through exactly how we do that and help you get those exact same consistent results. So give me a 1 in the chat box if you are fired up, if you're engaged right now, and if you are satisfied with attending this event so far. If not, don't say anything. Just kidding. But Travis, welcome Travis to the stage. Let's give Travis, his nickname is the Bull Rider. Let's give him a big old bull emoji or give him like a Bull Rider entrance.
Again, want to start off with a little bit of interaction here. So I see a ton of threes. Great, you can hear me okay. So Bull Rider, he introduced me as Bull Rider, but one of my other nicknames is CoachG Jr. So here we are, and I'm excited, guys. So optimization that's my specialty. So talk a lot about revenue per client, processes, metrics, revenue per employee. So we're gonna do a deep dive into that, guys. And one of the first things I always like to ask, and actually this will be the first time I've done this. So I would love to hear you guys, what is your biggest challenge right now in your Medicare industry when it comes to sales? So it could be you're running turning 65 leads. It could be maybe you're in a market with a lot of non-commissionable Medicare Advantage plans. Just really want to hear what some of your challenges are that you guys are facing. And I want to talk a little bit about what actually optimization means, not just to me, but into our agency as a whole. So you're going to hear me talk a lot about revenue per client. You're going to hear me talk a lot about metrics, revenue, processes, and I'm seeing some great things in there. You're going to hear me talk a lot about that. But optimization, it's more than just revenue per client, revenue per employee. It is, for example, running turning 65 leads. What are 65-year-olds doing longer than they ever have in today's world? And I'll just answer it for you guys. They are working longer than they ever have. Okay, so people are delaying Medicare. They're working till 67, maybe age 70 to get their full retirement benefits. Okay, so people are working longer than they ever have. So I may not get a Medicare plan when I speak to somebody. If I amplify and scale before I'm optimized, let's just do some simple math here. If I brought in 10 agents using the math that's on the slide here, that's over $100,000 in revenue per agent. If you times that by 10, that is $1 million in lost revenue because you are amplifying a system and a sales process that is not optimized, and you are losing so much revenue. So it's super important. If you take away one thing today, it is optimization. I hope you pick up one thing from me that is going to help you start tagging on ancillary, tagging on cross-sell products, packaging. That's really what I'm going to be focused on, okay? Excuse me. So not only is it revenue per client, okay? So in our internal agency right now, we are averaging, this is year to date, we are averaging just about 1,600 revenue per client. And that is with 14 full-time LOA agents. And we had a lot of those. We've had 6 agents start January 1st or later this year. So they're within their first 5 months, and they are generating just about $1,600 revenue per client. So the second challenge, so at the beginning of my presentation, I talked about one of the challenges is people are working longer than they ever have. What's another challenge right now, which is the Medicare landscape has been changing over the last couple of years. I know that there are markets where there are tons of non-commissionable Medicare Advantage plans. Again, right out of Medicare and You handbook here, this is on page 28, 29. This talks about skilled nursing coverage with Medicare. So we know 3-day inpatient hospital stay, and I have to show continual improvement. And if you look a little bit closer on this document, after day 100, when it comes to a skilled nursing facility, the client is responsible for 100% of the cost. You'll also see in there, Medicare does not cover long-term care. So when it comes to this, if I were to break this down a little bit more, Medicare does not cover assisted living facilities, doesn't cover intermediate care, custodial care, none of that. Okay, so what did I just do? Is I just gave you and I identified a few problems that Medicare has, a few exposures that Medicare has. So we talked about cancer, talked about skilled nursing, we talked about assisted living, custodial care. So now, how do I optimize from that where it's very simple. What I just did is I identified a problem, and it's the exact same thing that we do with our clients is we educate on the problems, and we provide a solution for that, okay? What is that solution? It is a menu. Every single client that we talk to sees this menu. By the time that we make a recommendation, they see it 4 or 5 times in the webinar. They hear from it from the agent at least 3 or 4 times, and then they see it again when we make our recommendation. So that's about 10 total times that they see this menu concept. So by the time that we go and we make our recommendation, they know exactly what we're talking about. They know exactly what they're buying, and they know exactly why they need it. Okay, umbrella 3, 2, and 1. We always start with number 3. Okay, so we start with as high as we can. If we need to, we can work ourselves down. We have a very systematic process for that. A consistent process equals consistent results. And you can say the same for the inverse, which is an inconsistent process equals inconsistent results. Okay, so we talk about embedding. We talk about it in the Medicare 101, but we also talk about it in our appointment presentation, our appointment process. Okay, so our process, the consistent process, is our appointment flowchart. Every single appointment that we run, no matter where the lead comes from, we follow this exact process to a T. So it could be from our Medicare 101. It could be from a client referral, a personal referral. We have a huge relationship with the Springfield Clinic in our local market. We get referrals from there. Does not matter what appointment source it comes from. Every single time we talk to somebody, it follows this structure. Okay, so it's a very consistent process. Step number 1 on here is build rapport. And I saw earlier, I was paying attention in the chat box earlier, guys. I saw a lot of people, your specialty, one of your primary skills is building relationships with people, building trust with people, and you absolutely should, okay? Again, I talk a lot about metrics, revenue, processes, but one of the reasons you probably got drawn to this industry is it's a relationship-driven business, guys. So step number 1, it's build rapport. And what I mean by this is not something we take, 5-10 minutes before or before the appointment to build rapport. This happens throughout your conversation. This happens throughout your appointment. I'm gonna go over that in a little bit more detail. Build rapport. This is something that's gonna happen throughout your appointment process here. Step number 2, I always love to say this, okay? Put a 1 in the chat box if you've heard of Zig Ziglar before. Put a 1 in the chat box, okay? Help enough people get what they want, and they are gonna help you get what you want. I see a lot of 1s in there, I love it. That is step number 2 in the chat box, okay? That's step number 2. Ask what they wanna get out of the appointment. If you don't find out what they want, you're just running your own agenda. Okay, you've got to tailor the appointment specifically to your client there. Step number 3 is client needs assessment. We're going to talk about this a little bit more. I wish I had more time. Client needs assessment flowchart is, I stole this from Chase. It's my love language. Okay, I could talk about these things all day long. Step number 4, answer client questions and only answer the questions that are asked. A lot of times, the number 1 thing when people start introducing products to their portfolio is they want to over-explain, over-educate, and when you do that, you are confusing a client. Confused clients do not buy. Go over Medicare Advantage versus Medicare Supplement. I like to call this education. Okay, we're gonna educate, and then step number 6 is we are always going to make a recommendation. Even if someone is staying on employer coverage, we are going to recommend cancer, heart attack and stroke, short-term care. We are always going to do that. Again, 1/3 of our clients this year to date, are in that exact scenario where they are staying on employer coverage and delaying Medicare. Okay, if we don't get that sale, step number 7 is to set up future appointments. And then here we go, client needs assessment, super important. So client needs assessment, it's a tool for several different things. You hear us say embed, embed, embed. So that's number 1, is we are embedding the ancillary products in here. But number 2, you are building, this is your relationship builder. As you're going through a conversation, you are building a relationship, you're building trust with your clients. They are opening up, they're telling you stories, and they're giving you information. So it's a relationship builder. It's a fact finder. It's information you need to have to make a proper recommendation for your clients. Okay, and we're going to embed, we talk about life insurance, retirement planning, all of those different things. And again, I would love to go over this in more detail. Flowchart, client needs assessment. These are things that we go through, we train on every single day. Okay, I'd love to go through that in a little bit more detail. Pros train every single day. That's what I got. So thank you guys for the interaction today. Thank you for hopping on with us. And here it is, back to the original.
Our next presenter here, Josh Cooper. I'm going to introduce him real quick. Josh Cooper has been in our platform for over a year, and that's where all my relationships start, is within our platform. We get to know people, we get to go deeper with people. And very early on, Josh brought the idea to me of bringing his background in final expense and training and coaching and building a really incredible agency that he's going to tell you about on the life side. And we've always felt like we had that gap on the life side. I mean, when you talk about adding life sales to the senior market, that can be an average of, anywhere from $750 to $1,500 in additional revenue per client. And Josh is an absolute just machine and his team at doing that. And that's what he brought to our platform now, is he teaches Medicare agents, Medicare-focused agents in the senior market how to add final expense to their portfolio in the senior market, which I think is so undertaught, so underutilized, and is a massive opportunity. So I'm just super excited about Josh for a couple different reasons. Is he's a former coach. That's what he believes in. You're going to hear the way he talks and the way he preaches and the way he develops. It's a coach's mindset. And he's built an incredible team with a foundation built on culture, leadership, and doing things the right way. So super congruent with how we teach, how we approach things. And I'm just really excited for you guys to hear from Josh Cooper and what he's going to do for your team and agency. So Josh Cooper, take us away.
Good morning or early afternoon, depending where you're at. I'm on the East Coast, so it is 12:43 for me. So it is getting close to lunchtime. So if I get angry, it's because I'm hangry. No, I'm just kidding. Now, the first one is I want you guys to see the potential. The second one is I want you to believe in the why. And the third one is understand the how. And once you write those three things down, what we're going to find, if you're not cross-selling life insurance, is we have a disconnect somewhere in one of those three. Okay. And so we're going to go through those three things today, and all of our slides are going to kind of hit on each one and hopefully break down and understand and build that up. So a little bit about me. I have an education background, which I think helped me a lot transitioning into the insurance space. I played college sports as well. I was in the basketball versus football. Went into the public school system. I taught for 5 years, and then I continued to coach for a couple of years after that while I was still in insurance. Why would we sell life insurance to the client? Well, as you can see on the screen, it's a simple fact and very strong statistic. 100% of people do pass away, right? And so there's a burden of final expense for everybody who passes away, whether that's a cremation or burial, right? National average being 10 to 15,000 for burial cost. But really, in the way our coaching sector is, it's not just a final expense cross-sell. That's why we have in there, it's a life insurance cross-sell as well. Because whenever you say final expense, it rules out half of your potential clients because they're thinking, oh, I've got that taken care of. I've got enough money in the bank. Life insurance does so much more for people outside of just paying for burial. And that's where we found when we're really tapping into the T65 market, when we have a higher intent client, when we have a higher engaged client that's been going through a webinar, educated, they're a higher net worth individual, they're actually looking for life insurance that has larger face amounts or other benefits. Okay, so the final expense space, why we need it for the client, cover final expenses, take care of income replacement. It's a tax-free inheritance. So if you didn't know that about final expenses, the average cost is $12,000 to $15,000 for burial. If you didn't know that about income replacement, when somebody passes away who's on Social Security, their income is cut off immediately. Okay. In fact, depending on when they pass away, the Social Security Department goes in and claws back the unearned Social Security. Okay. That puts a big burden and a stress on the surviving spouse, if there is one, and on the family. And so that is something that a life insurance policy or a final expense policy helps alleviate that stress and burden and allows people to grieve and transition their life correctly. So there's part of the why is, why does the client need it, right? You're more protecting, you're offering a better protection package for the client. But now as an agent or as an agency, what benefits does it bring us to why we should sell life insurance? Most people who want to grow and want to hire, they have a cash flow problem. Okay. If we had unlimited cash flow, we would have no problem hiring and outsourcing things and using this money for this or that, or marketing and buying billboards and all sorts of things. Life insurance is a great cash flow vehicle. The reason being, as you can see there, most carriers are paying a 9-month advance on your policy. Most companies are paying a daily commission. There is no enrollment periods. Earlier, I was looking at the chat and people were talking about some of the pain points were non-commissionable plans, enrollment periods, not having an SEP. Well, when you're selling ancillary, and life insurance kind of falls into that category, there is not an enrollment period. You can write life insurance from January 1st to the end of December. You don't have to wait on an election period, okay? Same thing with the cancer, heart attack, stroke, recovery care, and so forth. So you can sell it year round. Average policy commission, the way we come up with that is, let's just say a street level commission is 100% level, okay? Our process is very simple, which is what we just talked about, is number one, you have to ask the question. And I'm going to reference this. You may not get it, but if you don't know the movie Dumb and Dumber, then it's going to be hard to work with you anyways. No, I'm just kidding. But in the movie Dumb and Dumber, I always talk about this. The Jim Carrey and I can't remember the other guy's name. They walk out of the gas station. They got a big cup in their hand, and they see somebody else and they say, "Big gulps, eh? Well, see you later." And they just move on. And that's what happens a lot of times when you go through a client needs assessment or you're asking somebody a question. Your agent will say, well, I asked them the question and they said, "Do you have life insurance? Yes or no?" "Okay, thanks." And they moved on. You have to ask the question and dig in, right? You can't just breeze past it, or they're not going to think that it's something serious. You have to build the value. So you need to confirm their situation. Do they have coverage or do they not? Put them in one or two categories, right? You force them into a category. Those are very simple ones. And then unwrap the need. People often think, like, you have to tell the client what the need is of their coverage. So if they want to be buried or cremated, you need to find that out, right? Find out who depends on their income. Give that person a name. Is it their spouse? Do they have a disabled child, right? Do they have young children still at home, right? Do they have grandkids they take care of? Then you need to qualify for the coverage. Go through some generic gatekeeping questions to understand, is this person going to be a higher face amount type client, or are they going to take more, be a more simplified issue, final expense case? And then you have to assume the close. Once we built the value and we build this yes momentum, yeah, I understand I need that. Yeah, I don't want to leave a burden behind. Yes, I would like to leave tax-free. Yes, if I had a blank check, I would make it out for $1 billion to my children. On our CNA, you can see I've kind of adjusted it. I asked them, do you carry life insurance? And if so, I just say, is it temporary or permanent? And then for our agents, I say work insurance is temporary, because as a generic rule, no work insurance can be kept forever. And yes, I know somebody can find one out there, they can keep it, but it's not common. And then we ask them, we make a recommendation, which we think is really big. You need to make a recommendation to your clients, and that is we recommend permanent coverage, because we want them to have peace of mind that they're not going to outlive their coverage, and then they're not going to have any kind of changes at a time when they need it most.
Our next presenter here, we're going to transition over. This is where a lot of focus goes. And rightfully so, because we've talked a lot about optimization here, right? You've heard from myself, you've heard from Travis, you've heard from Josh, you'll hear from Galen here at the top of the next hour. And optimization, as we say, is the foundational aspect. It's critically important. But once we get that optimization, well, it's time to go, baby. It's time to play offense and time to go score some points. And that's what Amplify does, is we take this incredible system and we force it to the market. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce the man, the myth, the legend, Matt Monticelli. Where are you at today, Matt?
Chase, I am in Charleston, South Carolina. Is the microphone all right? Everyone can hear me okay?
Oh, voice of an angel, honestly.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Face for radio, right? So, all right, everybody, welcome in. My name's Matt Monticelli, obviously, and we are going to go over the amplify section of CoachG. So between myself and Chase, we've we've tried everything. So I spent a few years myself as a Medicare agent, developed a lot of these things on my own, joined forces with Chase to really amplify these things here. And if you guys could just throw in the chat for me really quick, what is your number one lead source that you are working right now, whether it be a referral, advertising in a magazine? Let's see some of these answers here. Medicare 101, events, referrals, seminars, lots of referrals, television. All right, there we go. We got some TV, word of mouth. All right. So we see the word referrals over and over and over again. That is how I built my business, especially early on, was off of referrals, asking people, who do you know that we can help, right? And while that is a great way to grow your business, it is not scalable. And as some of you may experience, put a 1 in the chat here if you are wanting to grow your agency, but your referral base is just not able to keep up with your expanded agency. All right, we're seeing quite a few ones, right? So we can't automatically just tell people, hey, send me more leads. I need more people, right? So what this does is it often leads people into what we call the hope and pray trap. So what this hope and pray trap is, and again, I'm sure many of us have experienced this, it is just an unpredictable lead flow month to month. You are severely limited to where you live. It is extremely passive, and ultimately it's dependent on others, right? We are depending on others for our business to grow. As we had mentioned earlier, for all those people that put 1s in the chat that want to grow their business, hire people. And obviously, when you hire people, you need to support them as well. And as Chase and I have done trial and error with every single other, lead generation method, we found there's truly only one way to grow your leads generation alongside your business growth. And that is to amplify with paid advertising. Okay, so you are not just buying attention, or you are buying attention, not just leads. The example I love to use is my mother-in-law. She will be over at her house on a random weekend, and she will start talking about some crazy story of, oh, my friend said this and my friend bought that. And I'm like, well, who the heck is your friend? And she always says, oh, it's this person I follow on Instagram, right? And where we are in today's world, and it's only going to grow, is we are starting to become very familiar and comfortable with people through a screen, right? Kind of like we are today. And I want to see here a 2 in the chat box. If you feel like you have a decent idea of who Chase Gruening is, right? We see him in ads. We see him here all day today, right? You probably have created some sort of first impression, probably a 10th impression at this point, right? But you've probably created some sort of image about Chase at this point because you see him time and time again. So when you are amplifying with paid advertising, you're not just buying leads. You're buying a brand. You're buying, comfort with people. Okay, and this really moves you from hunting and trying to find leads to farming, where you're just taking care of what you have. You are, creating a system that as many agents as you bring in, you are able to truly ramp up that spend and get more leads. And how we do this is with really a 4-step process. So you'll see here on the next slide that first step is to run targeted online ads. So we call that paid traffic. You may have heard media buying. Okay, all those words are synonymous. The next step from there, after we run an ad, the goal is to get them to come to a webinar. Now, we run this webinar. It is a nice, clean-looking landing page. We're going to have a little bit of information. It's very similar, what you'll notice in the theme here. It's very similar steps to what we used in the referral model, right? It's one of those things, just like Chase, I used to coach coach college football as well. And it's one of those things where if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? If one of your plays is working really well, why would you run a different play? Okay. So we are going to take that same model and flip it over into our paid advertising. Now you'll see here that the landing page is a little bit different. We are testing different things, but it is the same exact model from referrals to running paid ads. We're not reinventing the wheel. So what happens here is people will fill out this form on the right. They will come to this next page here, which is our thank you page, which says, hey, you've registered for the Medicare 101 webinar. Looking forward to seeing you there. It's at this day and this time. Now, they have seen Chase at this point 3 times. They have seen him through the paid ad. They had seen him on the last page on some different images with a client, or they've seen his headshot with a bio. Now they're seeing him in a quick 20-second video, right? So the more times that you can see somebody, the more comfortable they get with you. And Emily will dive into this a lot deeper later. She's the branding expert. But then what happens from here on the next slide is our Medicare 101. Again, 30-minute educational webinar. We are generating high intent, highly qualified, highly educated leads, right? We all want these high intent, highly educated leads. We don't want to run a 2-hour appointment collecting all this information. We are having our automated system do the heavy lifting for us on the front end, okay? Now what happens after the Medicare 101 or during the Medicare 101, you'll see here is that we have a calendar sitting below the 101. People click on that button right there, image, whatever we want to call it, pops up our calendar, it shows our availability. We don't have to have this back and forth like a lot of us are probably experiencing with our current referral sources where it's like, hey, I'm free at this day and this time. Oh, well, let me call the lead back and see when they're free. Oh, they're busy at this time. Are you free there? Right? And we're playing phone tag and chasing people around. This system just allows people to show up on your calendar. So as we showed you earlier, this is what our page looks like. All right, this is what our Medicare 101 workshop page looks like. You can click here to register. You can click here to register. Any shiny green button is going to pull up the form here. So you can see our form. We got all Chase's information, all this great stuff. Well, I'm going to show you just how easy it is for you to jump into our system, into our CRM, and get this built to your brand. What you'll notice here in this section is that we just have these values over on the right side. And what I've done is I have just input all of my information in here, okay? And what happens is once you put your information in here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to this sheet with Chase. Now I'm going to just refresh the screen now that I've updated all of this information here. And look how easy this is. Everything's CoachG branded. Colors changed a little bit. We use blue in both, right? But everything is CoachG branded. We have a different background image here. We have a little bit of yellow. We have that mugshot right there. All right, my bio, all of my information at the snap of a finger. Realistically, it takes like 3 to 5 minutes, but it is fully built out for you. No having to learn how to build web pages, trying to figure this thing out. We have figured it out for you. So we have this system that is just going to keep dripping on people. And inside of Coach's CRM and CoachG, we will teach you how to go from a referral only model, which has 20% predictability, to using the CoachG Amplify method, which is going to give you 95% predictability. All right, you are no longer going to hope for business. You are going to command it. It is going to be a predictable and scalable lead generation system. Now we have Coach's CRM, as you've heard us mention a couple times. This is a ready-to-run infrastructure. We have our proven funnels, automated sequence, post-sale follow-ups. Our follow-ups are based on if somebody is a Medicare Advantage client, a Medicare supplement, if they just bought umbrella only. As Travis had told you all, that 1/3 of our clients this year are still working and not on a Medicare product. So we have specific automations to go to those people that are only that are only umbrella clients and not Medicare.
Well done, Matty Ice.
Thank
We call
you,
him
sir.
Matty Ice. We call him the Breaking Bad character. We call him a lot of things. Professor. He gets it done, though. I'm fired up after that one. Our next presenter and speaker is our media manager, Keegan. And I want to talk a little bit about Keegan here. Keegan probably gets to know me the most because he is responsible for doing all the filming of me. He goes on the road with me everywhere. He'll probably tell you some funny stories at my expense and make fun of me. And none of them are true, I swear. But my point being is Keegan, his specialty, right? And we have brought specialists to the stage. Matt is a specialist at lead flow. Trav's a specialist at optimization. Josh is a specialist at optimization. Emily's going to talk about branding. Chris is going to talk about hiring. Keegan's a specialist at taking attention, which is media, and turning it into clients, which I think is one of the most valuable things you can do in your agency. It's so true. If people don't know you, they can't flow you. And all you're doing through media is taking an assumption, what people think about you, and filling it with a true narrative that you can create through media and attention. So welcome to the stage, Mr. Keegan Powell.
I'm Keegan. As he just said, I'm the creative content manager with Chase. And so I do a lot of the filming, editing, and social media management. As Chase said, we spend a lot of time together and go on trips together, sleep in the same hotel room and whatnot. I'll spend the night at his place whenever I go work in the office. And so we're just very close. We get to know each other a lot. There was one night when we went to a bar with the team, had a great time. And I was kicking it with everybody. I was loving my time with the team. And he came up to me and he said, Keegan, I bet your love language is, what'd you say? Quality time. And I said, yeah, but with you it's physical touch. And so, safe to say I'm not allowed at his place anymore. But it's been fun. And I say all this because like I'm good at connecting with people. I love people. I love connecting with people on social media and in person. And that's something that you guys are good at too. Like you guys are very good at connecting with people in person or on the phone. You can use that in social media. And it's a smart thing. Like go ahead and put a 1 in the chat box if you use social media and if you post social media for your business. If you don't, you need to, because it's a huge help. It's a great way to get attention and turn attention into clients. It's a good way to get known and get trusted. And so I'm going to lead into that today and maybe make it a little more simple for you. So here's what we do. We do short form content daily. So this is reels or carousel posts, graphics. If you're not familiar with these terms, a reel is like a short video. Think of like a TikTok, think of a YouTube short. These are short videos that you just get on like any social media and you just scroll. And so we try to keep these around like 15 seconds to up to like 1:30, somewhere in that range. And a carousel post, if you go on Instagram, you're gonna see a carousel post. You just if you think of it like it comes up as a picture, you're gonna click on it and then you can just swipe. And for businesses, these are like infographics. And so we always do like a 3-slide thing where you can click on a picture, there's some information or like a question. I'll go over this later. But as you swipe, you get more information. And then you finally have come to a call to action, which is like follow, share, stuff like that. So how to get started with this, because I understand it can be very intimidating for people, especially if you're not familiar with it or if you've never done it. But it's a lot simpler than you may think. I recommend this little structure right here. You start with an idea first. So like a real question that your clients are already asking or an idea that they are confused about, concerned about. Take that to an AI that you trust. So like I use ChatGPT. Ashton is on here. She's on our team. She uses Gemini. So just go to one that you trust, get it to know you and your business, and then take that question or that idea and have it turn it into a short either like script or a prompt to help you out. And you can memorize that script or you can go from that prompt and it'll just lead you into this content as you're filming. And you want to keep it simple. So one topic, one message. Again, like a reel, we keep it like 15 seconds to a minute, say a minute. but like you can go as low as 15 seconds. Like it doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be complex. Keep it simple, keep it educational. The goal of this is to like educate people, and you want people to trust you and get some value from you. So that's the goal. Content structure. Almost every piece of our content follows this like 3-part structure. I say almost because Reels don't necessarily need a call to action, which is the last part of the content structure, but it does help sometimes. So the structure is the hook, message, and call to action. The hook, if you think of like a reel or any video, any short video, it's that first like 2 to 3 seconds that really draws people in. So like imagine I'm scrolling on social media. If I don't see something that grabs my attention for 2 seconds, I'm just going to keep scrolling. So you need to grab that person scrolling and have them stay for longer than 2 seconds. The message is what keeps them going. It needs to be engaging, helpful, educational. They need to see the value of watching this video. And then the call to action is finally what you tell them to do next. And so for a reel or for a carousel post, it could be follow for more tips. It could be share this with someone who needs it. It could be comment below. It could be like, follow, so on and so forth. Okay, so to film, you need to find a good location, an organized professional setting. So like if you have a bookcase behind you, whatever. Chase, can you go ahead and flip that switch for me? I'm gonna draw this out. So let's say you're here, and guys, that's your nose, not your pecker. Let's stay decent. Let's say this is a window shining through. You're gonna wanna put your camera or your phone right there. You want it to be well lit. You don't want dark. You want it to look professional. And you can use a phone if you have a camera that's like a good camera. I mean, that's ideal. But if you have like a newer phone, that also works. But again, face a window, a ring light, or a well-lit room. It needs to be bright and even. And you're going to record a clean delivery. Just speak clearly. You're going to look at the camera. You want to be yourself, be comfortable, be confident. If you don't feel comfortable and you record something, just redo it. I mean, these are simple, short little clips. So after you take that prompt or that script from ChatGPT or whatever AI you want to use, it should be short and simple. If you don't like it, just redo it. It's short and sweet. From there, you're going to edit, post, and repeat. So you want to edit for engagement. I'll go over this a little bit in a second, but you're going to cut pauses, mess ups. You want to keep the energy up. So add captions. So like if somebody's in public and they don't want to turn their volume on, they can read it. And then optional is to put music on. That also sparks engagement. You're going to post it to everywhere. So those top 5 that I just talked about: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and LinkedIn. And you want to stay consistent. I really want you to pay attention to this. Consistent posting keeps your feed active and the algorithm happy. This is, it sounds really confusing. So I'm going to explain it. The algorithm it's a little tricky. So I'll go to the next page here. Can you flip that? Yeah, thank you. So if I have a post here, let's say this is a video. I'm going to take it to, let's say, TikTok. TikTok, what it does, it's going to give it to like a small group of people, let's say 5 people. If none of these people engage with it, and again, engagement on social media is liking, following your page, watching for longer than, like a few seconds, commenting, sharing. If it's not getting any engagement, it will die out right there. But let's say I do another post, take it to TikTok, another 5 people. Let's say just one of these people likes the video. TikTok is going to recognize that. If you're unfamiliar with a feed on your social media is what the platform, such as TikTok, Instagram, it's what it reads you will like. So like if you go to your For You page, or if you go to TikTok and just scroll, those are all videos that the platform is expecting you to like and engage with. So TikTok is going to read your feed and find similar people or people that have similar feeds and distribute that video to them. And from there, you could get, let's say, 2 likes. And it just keeps going from there. So you want that engagement. That's why, call to actions are helpful. That's why hooks need to be engaging. And that's why you want to be personable and educational. You want to be helpful because you want people to engage with your stuff. So it just spreads to more people, and then you get more known and more trust. So here's what you should do after this. Film 1 to 2 posts per day. You can use your phone. You can use a camera if you have one, if you want to be super professional. But phones work. Answer 1 question per video. Keep it, again, short and sweet, simple, educational, fun. Edit video with CapCut. That's my recommendation. CapCut's pretty easy to learn. You can add captions easily, trim gaps, and export. Takes a few minutes. Post the same day. Like, a lot of people overthink about this. Literally, like, if you're posting every day, don't overthink it. Nobody's going to remember your post in, a few weeks or tomorrow. It's just nice to build that engagement. It's nice to build your page. So don't think about it. If it's educational and helpful, it will work. Like, you just need to put it on your page and move on. And you're going to want to run consistent ads. So from posting all the time or every day, people are going to see you. And again, they're going to want to click on your ad because they've seen your face. So you're going to want to use webinars and simple video ads to drive leads every week. So here's how to do ads and webinars properly. For ads, you're going to talk directly to the viewer, like a one-on-one, similar to a reel. But for the 3-part structure I was talking about, it's the hook. And for this, you're going to want to offer, the best way, I say, is to offer a problem and solution. So talk about their problem, tell them that, explain their problem, and then explain the value that you're going to give them with the solution. And then the call to action would be driving them to the webinar. The webinar is, he talked about it earlier, about 35 minutes. That's a good range. Or a good range, I'd say a good range is 25 minutes to 45. 35 is ideal. But you want to answer real Medicare questions. It's a Medicare 101, we call it. So you want to go through all these questions, make it clear and educational. You want to help these people out, and you want them to trust you. With this, you can use Loom. Loom is it's a platform where you can record your presentation and yourself at the same time, and it'll put a little picture up. If you want to go one step further, you could do 2 camera angles, and I'll explain that here. I'll go back. If you want to do 2 camera angles, I'll do this. You could do this right here. That way, this is how I run webinars or content in general, because if you ever mess up, you can just cut to the other angle. And I'll explain that here too. So I'm using 2 camera angles. Let's say this is camera A, this is camera B. These are my clips right here. And I've got camera A, camera B. Let's say this part right here was a mess up. So I cut these out right here. I'm gonna do this right here. What I'm gonna do when I'm editing is I am going to cut that out. I'll do this right here for you guys. So I've cut out that mess up, and now I've got this. I've got this big gap in between my A and B clips. So I'm gonna do this. This is my next step. I'm going to delete these 2 and bring this guy up here. So that is step 1, 2, and 3 for you guys. So for editing, again, use CapCut. You can add captions, make simple cuts, make it clean. There are plenty of tutorials on this. You will need a tutorial for something like this, but it's easy to learn. It's going to look complicated, but once you pick it up, it's super easy to use.
So Keegan's also on Emily's Branding Blitz Call. So our entire media marketing team, so Ashton, Emily, Keegan, and they're going to help you with media, branding, marketing, website design, logo design, all that stuff, you name it. And what Keegan was alluding to there at the end is inside of our platform, I'm going to have Carrie and Ashton, if you could just drop the YouTube white glove link. So inside of our platform, we offer white glove services. So we'll do your Medicare 101 for you. Keegan and his team can fly out to see you and do filming at your office. You can come to one of our locations, and we can literally bring our media team inside of your agency and produce these high quality, first class versions of everything you do on the media front. So we can become an extension of you as well. It's just another awesome tool that we provide to you. And I saw it in the comments as well. I just cannot reiterate enough. We do not care about contracting. We are an agency development platform first. And what that means is we are here to enhance and support your upline or your FMO or whoever it is that you work with. And that's why we work with some of the biggest FMOs in the country, is we are there to support more than anything. Hey, we're moving on to the final pillar, ladies and gentlemen. So we've been through Optimize, we've been through Amplify. Can anybody tell me what the final pillar is? The final part of growing this amazing business. This is the part where it runs without you, right? We learned how to get our revenue per client. Now it's time to teach it. Then we amplify it with paid ads. Now we start scaling it with people and a brand. So when it comes to scale, this is where Emily and Chris come into play. Chris is going to come to the stage. He leads our business development side. So anybody that comes through our company in terms of an internal hire, so an employee, an internal agent, or a partner, they go through Chris and his team. And Chris is coming from the corporate background. Chris is actually one of my best friends. He was in my wedding. I was supposed to be at his. I couldn't make it, had other obligations. I'm just kidding. I was coaching football at the time. It's still a very sore subject in the family. But my point being is Chris brings such a great, Chris and Emily, our scalers, go figure, bring a corporate background to a non-corporate company, right? And I think it's so important we have those different attributes. And Chris has led large teams, has hired, has fired, and really has brought in top talent to our agency and has a really special skill, right? He's a specialist at identifying top talent, attracting them, retaining them, and then putting them on the right development path. So Chris is going to talk to you how we bring in high performance, how we track high performers, and how we develop high performance. So Chris Hunt, welcome to the stage.
Thank you, thank you. I am Chase's best friend, but he is more of an acquaintance to me. So he's got some work to do there. So I'm going to talk a little bit about hiring and really retention, onboarding, and this fits obviously the scale part, this third step. And when you think scale, think people, think processes, right? At this point, you've kind of got the house built. Now we got to fill it with talent. That's the next goal. So this slide's kind of showing, this is really our first quarter. So we hired 10 LOAs, an office manager, a content creator. We had our struggles, we had our wins. And sometimes when I post these numbers and people see, 10 LOAs in 12 weeks, sometimes a little unrealistic, make it look a little maybe simple. But truth be told, we failed multiple times and we probably spent a lot of money to really perfect what I think is probably the industry leading onboarding and hiring platform that we have. So the beauty of the CoachG platform is you can walk into really a turnkey blueprint of hiring and onboarding that we have built over the last 2 to 3 years. So we've made the mistakes, we've spent the money to perfect this process that you guys can really walk into and optimize. The most important mistake I see a lot of agents and agencies make is everybody wants to hire these LOAs. They want to bulk up and bring in volume. What they forget to focus on is you need a back office. You need a very strong back office that's going to allow you to scale your LOA production, because as you guys know, more production brings more service. More service, you need more back office support, okay? If you don't have that back office support, you're going to lose that retention and you're going to lose LOAs. So extremely important to get that structure in the back office first before you start hiring these LOAs. This is by far, in my opinion, the hardest part about scaling, okay? This is where people give up because they don't have the patience, they don't have the structure, they don't have the process in place. This shot right here really, and I'm going to go through this pretty quick, it shows what I talk about patience and commitment to hiring. So these are 3 positions that we hired recently. And every one of those positions had around 646 applicants, 463, 732, okay? You've got to commit time to go through some of these, get on the phone, screen them. You got to take that step back from producing to take 2 steps forward in terms of getting this hiring, bring in these LOAs. It takes time. It takes commitment. It's not going to happen overnight. If you do have an admin, bring her in to help screen the resumes, okay? So this is just showing you there is a lot of volume that you will get on the right post, and you've got to be prepared to spend time or have a process in place that can manage this situation here. This is just a quick screenshot that shows really the granular detail that we go into in terms of onboarding. And this is just my responsibilities. This is before it gets to Travis, okay? So there are a ton of steps that we go through from just the initial phone interview all the way through to the first day, okay? Everybody has a responsibility in place, whether that's setting up the email. So day one, they walk in and they can start work. It's, do they do the background check? Have we got the licensing in play? Every one of these should be ticked as we work through this before I hand it off to Travis. So it's very, very structured because it needs to be. This is another screenshot. This is really Travis's area, but I put this up here to show you how detailed we are from an onboarding standpoint. This right here is just one day. So there's really not an hour in that day where that employee or LOA is not training or doing something productive. CoachG call, screening calls, listening to Trav. That is one day, and we have 2 weeks built out of this, okay? So we're extremely structured on this process because it works, okay? So this snapshot right here is a resume for Devin, and anybody that's been around our program probably knows Devin by now. He's really one of our most successful new agents that we've recently, I would say recently brought in. He went from first day in the office to regional director of sales in just over a year, 12, 13 months, okay? We are not the company where we say you need to be here for a year, 2 years before you're gonna get a promotion. If we think you're ready, you have the quality, you have the tangibles to impact at a higher level, you're gonna get moved, you're gonna get promoted, okay? We move extremely fast, our growth is extremely high, so to keep up with that growth, we have to build out this hierarchy. So we promote quickly when we see talent, and it's a retention play as well. But with this resume right here, I've highlighted a few just some words. You may not be able to see them, but this is Devin's resume when he was a car salesman, right? So just read some of these lines. It says fact-finding and building strong relationships, right? Gaining a strong understanding of the product and being able to relay how it's beneficial to the consumer. I mean, he's pretty much a Medicare agent selling cars at this point. So this is a really easy find. This is an easy win, and that's why he was such an easy fit for us to onboard. So this slide right here shows 2 of our newer agents, so Austin and Summer. And there's two things I want to focus on here is, if you look at their resumes, right, Summer is very heavy on the sales experience, okay? Every job she had was sales related. Austin, probably a little more corporate, inventory control specialist, fleet specialist. 2 completely different resumes, but 2 very, very high achievers at the same level. My point being, don't let the resume tell you everything about that individual. Unfortunately, in this industry, you have got to get on the phone because half the battle is, are they confident? Do they communicate clearly? Are they running the conversation? The rest we can train. I just need somebody confident on the phone and coachable. The rest we can take care of. So don't look at the resume and think they need 5 years experience or even any sales experience. Some of our best producers never had any sales experience coming in, okay? So get on the phone. It is time consuming, but that's how you're gonna get a Devin. That's how you're gonna get somebody that may not reflect on the resume, but on the phone is a no-brainer, and let the onboarding process do the rest of the work. I mean, if you look at the hierarchy here, so we had Kara, who's now in finance, Megan, who's a top agent. We all know Ashton, Delaney, Shannon, who's in contracting. They all started at the admin role, okay? And the easiest thing you can do is promote from within and then backfill, okay? So before you look external and start paying for ads, look what's around you. Do they have the talent, the ability, or the desire to get to the next step? If that's a yes, that's your first point of call, because then they can onboard and organically transition to that next role. Okay, so how we hired. And this first point here, I was on a podcast and I listened to this gentleman talk about generational awareness. I'll tell a quick story, and it's one of our external partners that will not mention a name because it's probably highly illegal, but I'm gonna go through this story. He calls me on a FaceTime and he is using AI to submit an Aetna contract while it says Tesla is self-driving. And I looked at this, and 10 years ago, if you told me that, I would have fell off my chair. But we've got to realize, guys, the world is changing. AI is a thing, okay? People are working less hard, but being more productive, and that's okay. If you fight it and don't embrace it, you're gonna get left behind, okay? You don't need to be an expert in it. You can hire that, but you've got to understand the strength that it brings and implement that into your business. Otherwise, you are going to struggle. It's just a fact. The onboarding process. Travis, once I know I've handed this off to Travis, I know I'm fully confident that in 3 months, we're going to have a top producing agent. We have not failed yet. We have the industry leading onboarding process, and I'm confident in saying that. Every time I get somebody to Travis, he's going to do his thing. I don't like talking nice about Travis, but I'm doing it. But he'll do his thing, and within 3 months, we've got a top agent. Every time, no doubt. Time management. Guys, if you are not good at something, do not spin your wheels trying to become an expert. Bring somebody in with the talent, with that knowledge to take care of it for you. We touched on white glove. That is exactly what it's for. Save your time, keep doing what you're good at, and outsource what you don't know. Same with about outsource your weakness. Retaining talent. So, you could be the best recruiter in the world, but if you can't retain talent, you're just wasting money. And this is something that we do extremely well. And like I said, we don't use the word family, but if you look at these pictures, we just take people to Broadway and give them an unlimited bar budget, and they just stick around every year. That's kind of the goal here. But all jokes aside, we do special events for our agents and our employees and their plus one, and their family, that we get to come together and celebrate. Because don't get me wrong, we work our tails off, and we ask a lot, and we get a lot. So we like to celebrate our guys. I think we do it in a spectacular fashion. So this is a huge part of just retaining talent.
And I want to make it very clear, again, inside of our platform, 4 days a week, we're helping you create job descriptions, we're helping you vet resumes, we're helping you hire, attract, develop, retain top talent. We share absolutely everything that we've ever done in terms of bringing on quality people. And we're hiring every week, so it's pretty unique inside of the platform to be going over new hires, and we're sharing new onboardings, and we're sharing our wins and losses. Because trust me, hiring is not for the faint of heart. We've had to fire too, and that's the unfortunate part of hiring, is sometimes things don't work out. We do have to make tough decisions, and that's part of a growing and thriving business. Emily, we call her the closer, the 5'4" firecracker, Emily Gruening. And again, another major, the best hire of my personal life and professional life. And if you don't know the story, we're about a block away from Broadway right now. I met this young pistol on Broadway at Honky Tonk Central. Put a 1 in the chat box if you've ever been to Honky Tonk Central on Broadway. Second floor at the bar. I was with Chris Hunt, and this little pistol came walking around, and my first words were holy dimples. Since those words, she spent another couple years in corporate. She'll talk about her career, came over and absolutely exploded our brands. And she's worked with some of the biggest brands in the country in the entertainment industry. And it's no secret of why we have scaled to the point we're at. And that's because of the visibility and the brand that she's created with multiple companies. So how do you build a brand that speaks for you and dominates your market? Well, Emily Gruening is going to tell you exactly how. Welcome to the stage, Emily Gruening.
Awesome. So excited to be with y'all. Excited to close it down today. And there's really kind of a reason for that. I could talk about branding really in front of any of the 3 pillars that we talked about: optimize, amplify, scale. I genuinely believe that in order for you to really optimize, you have to really be a credible brand. You have to build trust. I certainly believe that before you amplify, because I always say, if people find you on a Facebook ad, the next thing that they're going to do is they're going to Google you and see if you're legit. And then we just finished hearing from the phenomenal Chris Hunt. And absolutely, before scaling, there's a whole component when it comes to building the internal brand that is super important before you really hit that scale button. So I'm going to talk about all of those things today. And so as Chase mentioned, I always like to say, welcome to Nashville, y'all. I have lived here now. I'm from California originally. I've lived here now for 19 years and made my way here to Nashville on a hope and a dream, and really just loved the city, loved country music, and worked for one company essentially my entire big girl career before Chase lured me over here to Gruening Health and Wealth and our other brands. And that company was called Ryman Hospitality Properties here in the city. And what I primarily did for them was leadership and development and what I consider internal branding culture for the Grand Ole Opry, Ryman Auditorium, for a brand called Ole Red that we have with Blake Shelton, and the Gaylord Hotels brand. And I know some of you are probably very familiar with the Gaylord Hotels. And so, you know, I come from a very passionate place from the internal branding side, but also really played a role in making sure that our employees at the time understood the gravity of our external brands and the role that they played. What I'll always talk about is that your people are your products, right? For some of you, like this whole idea of creating this brand probably feels very foreign or very scary. I'm here to break down, you know, the fact that it's really not as scary as it seems, and that really consistency is what's going to drive the things that you're looking for. It's not the fanciest logo. It's not the best colors. Those things certainly do matter, but they don't matter the most as much as just using what you have absolutely consistently. Which I know Keegan, you know, talked about as well. So there's 4 kind of components that we're going to talk about. We talked about that identity piece. We're going to talk about visual identity and verbal identity. We're going to talk about marketing and reputation in terms of external branding, like we talked about here. So let's start with the visual identity. Because again, when people think about branding, a lot of times they think about that first thing, right? Like logo, colors. And again, those things matter. And they really start the story in a sense. So I'm going to use our own brands to tell our story and help kind of give you some ideas around, you know, how these things work. And within our platform, in my call, all the things that we do, and I bring my team with me because certainly, actually, they're way more talented than I am, but they talk to you all as well about all the things that I'm going to talk about in here, which is helping you refine some of these things, right? The thing that you'll see at the top of our logos is our company, what Chase started and what has now become Gruening Health and Wealth, has gone through 3 different iterations of a logo over time. When he first started, certainly before I knew him, he used that logo there to get him started. And then, you know, once we met, we kind of had this, you know, this chat probably. I was like, let's change your logo or create one. But then really during COVID, as Chase talked about, was like this idea around, you know, building something beyond just him. Our vibe for Gruening Health and Wealth is all around kind of, you know, professionalism, education, you know, kind of that kind of vibe where CoachG is going to be way more gritty, way more around like team performance, you know, competition, win, all of that type of thing, where it's GHW Partners is more around like legacy, you know, personalized connection and helping people really kind of elevate beyond what they thought they could. And hopefully, in your experience, just visually looking at that, like Chase said, I believe in your brand should speak for you. You automatically feel that from just looking at the logos alone, right? The next component that you can do to really help guide that is create some brand imagery around that. So again, in a sense, you want to tell the story through photos. The easiest thing that you can do for your brand is consistently do a photo shoot. It will cost you a few $100s or a friend if you've got one. Pick a place that resembles the type of brand that you want to put out there. None of those locations are our offices. Again, we put out kind of what we want to attract. Doesn't have to be your specific office or your specific location. Some of you don't even have an office. But pick a location that is meaningful to your brand and take photos and use them all over. Keegan talked about your socials, your website, all of that. That's certainly going to help you. You can see now the very big difference between our brand imagery within GHW. Again, very professional, warm, helpful, versus GHW Partners, of course, which is going to be way more, again, elevated, you know, really kind of customized experience, right? And we utilize that throughout. Also, you're going to have a color palette and a font that's going to go with that as well. So you can see very different vibes. People get really hung up on the color situation. Couple things. One, I always say, you know, if you're redoing your colors, if these are your colors now, don't freak out. But if you're redoing your colors in terms of Medicare, I would avoid kind of the reds and the blues, which I think a lot of people think, oh, that screams Medicare, but that can get really confusing with the existing Medicare kind of communication that comes out from the government. I would say just pick your colors and stick to them. When we came up with GHW colors, Chase loved blue, and so we stuck with blue, and we're Vols fans, and I picked Tennessee orange, and we rolled with it, and it has been very good to us. So now we've got this phenomenal external brand that is moving and shaking. You've got all kinds of people out there. Put a 1 in the chat box if you have a team. If you've got LOAs underneath you and you are selling as groups. So I see, a few different people coming in here. Perfect. So I'm certainly in this case going to talk to all of you, but certainly really going to talk to those that have an existing team. This is really where that internal branding or that culture component is going to come in. And for those of you who don't have a team yet, but you're thinking about building a team, I want you to keep these things in mind as you start to formulate how you would bring people into your organization. And there's 3 different ways that you want to do that. You want to really define what your internal brand is, right? So what's that vision? What's that mission? What's your values? How does that culture kind of come into play? What does that look like? Then you've got to get some buy-in from your team. So you got to get your team to believe in what you've created, live the brand with you. And there's certain ways you can do that. And then, of course, make sure that it's happening on a day-to-day basis, right? So let's talk about the definition component. So we have a vision and we have a mission for all 3 of our brands. They're different, again, for each one, but I think it's really important to, come together and think about what are you trying to accomplish as a company. The vision's really going to be more for your leadership team and help as you continue to grow that out, and you as a leader kind of helping you keep aligned of like, what are you trying to accomplish, versus your mission is what you want your agents or any of your employees to do on a daily basis, right? So the vision for us, we have 2 things. Like, we want to be the most trusted team-driven Medicare agency in the country. So, the trust that we're going to get from our clients and being able to serve them, but doing it with a group of people that, we want to win together with. And we brought both of those things together. And you can see that in our mission as well. Again, our vision and our mission for CoachG are going to be very different than what they are for GHW. We want to elevate the industry and build championship teams. GHW Partners is all around personalized partnership and helping people build legacies. Very different vision than the other 2. So being very clear on what you're trying to accomplish is going to help keep you motivated, but certainly keep the people that are a part of your team also headed in the same direction as you. And then also making sure that you have a really strong set of core pillars or values or guiding principles that matter to you as the owner and help people understand the type of environment that they're joining. So the important thing that I want you to take away is a few things. It's important to align your internal and your external brand. Remember, your people are your product. So, whatever you put into your team, that's what they're going to deliver out to all the people that are coming to your brand. And the things that we do within the platform, is help you think through all of these things. We're going to help you audit your internal and external branding, maybe define things that need to be changed or strengthened. We're going to create, can help create some internal branding thoughts for you and help you develop that external brand and help you understand how to commit to that consistency, because it is a long game. And whether that be you white glove it and it's something we do for you, or you come to our call and we can essentially coach you right on the spot to help you get where you want to be. But like I said, I am a little biased, but I certainly believe that branding is super important to be successful at any of the stages that we talk about within our platform, Optimize, Amplify, Scale. All right, take it away, Chase.
This is the point now where you need to make a decision. And I'm going to help you make that decision, I hope. And the first thing I want to talk about here is when you join our platform, this is every day, right? You are getting access to incredible people every single day. Everybody that spoke today, you have an opportunity to work with them literally Monday through Thursday every single week. We have members-only boot camps throughout the summer. We've already had our spring sessions. We'll have our summer sessions here coming up. We'll have the Branding Blitz. We'll have Medicare U, 2-point plays, the chalkboard, the rookie season, where we take a full day and we dive into each department. And then obviously every single day inside of our platform, you have the opportunity to have live training and coaching inside that platform. All of the materials that we ever use, all the systems, all the processes are right there at your fingertips. And as I work through here, I go back to a couple different things. And I don't want you to overcomplicate it here. Is you've got to ask yourself, will ending this call, going back to your normal work week and doing nothing, hurt or help your business? Let that sink in. Will it hurt or help your business? Will booking a strategy call and seeing where you're at right now, where you're trying to go, and having somebody help you get there, help you get there, will that help your business? So number one, will doing nothing hurt or help your business? Will working with somebody on our team hurt or help your business? Those should be very clear and obvious answers that drive you towards making a specific decision today. That's my job, is to help you as your leader, as your coach, as a mentor in this platform, as an agency development tool to help you make a decision here. These are a lot of the different events. So right now we're virtual, which is very weird to be in this room because I'm used to having 100 people in this room with us. Very weird, very unique. It's been a lot of fun today. Let me know if you've had fun, put a 1 in the chat box. But these are some of the in-person events we've done this year already. So we had the Destin event, strategy session in Destin. We had the Nashville February playbook. And then we obviously have this event. We have some virtual ones. Our next one coming up is going to be in August. I'll show you that shortly. That's for our members only. But I want to showcase some of the people that we've worked with in the platform. These 3 are massive agency owners. So a lot of our platform is going to be people that are individual agency owners, and we're helping you get to that next level, right? But a huge chunk of that platform are agency owners like this with large teams. Matt Mitchell, for example, there on the left, worked with us, and we completely impacted his revenue per client with more than 15, 20 agents. That's a big time jump in your agency. Jeff Harder, he is managing partner of CBU and FMO in the Northeast, completely moved the needle in their business. Medicare Joe, his entire team's in, and where they are right now, they're in Punta Cana on a president's trip, and they are absolutely crushing it with production with a thriving LOA shop that's doing multiple millions per year. So all these guys right here doing multiple millions per year. If you asked them, we have drove production in their agencies. And I wanted to showcase what's happening right now in our agency while we're on this call. This is this week's production. Today's production is on the far left. So since we've been on this call, we've had 27 apps submitted in our LOA team, almost $16,000 in revenue. On the week, we've done over $31,000 on the month, $253,000 in revenue between 14 agents. We're pacing $425,000 this week in our internal LOA shop while we're sitting here running a live workshop. An agency that is truly working without us while we're all here leading, coaching, developing. This could be you. I'm telling you, don't make the same mistakes that I did and wait 7 years to make a decision to do something bigger, to make a decision to get closer to a true business, right? Right now, a lot of people out there are just high-paid employees of a job. Own a business that works without you. My wife and I, we spent Friday at the rooftop pool in Nashville while our business was running in action. It took us a while to get there, a little bit longer than I'd like to admit, but that's the end goal, right? Is to be able to do what you love with who you love while your business is making money for you and you're not working in it so much, right? Your business is not so dependent on you. This is a Coaches Retreat Nashville event. This is August 27th, 28th. This is for our members only, so this is our next in-person event. It's our biggest one of the year where we roll out our exact AEP plan. We give you our AEP automations, the same automations that we use to book thousands of appointments for us that are pre-educated, pre-qualified, and are going to buy additional products as current clients. So that is our next members-only event. Mark that on your calendars. Registration will open shortly. And then again, some more testimonials from our platform. These are people that are actively in our platform, and the goal is you see a couple people on our platform. Again, put a 1 in the chat box put a me in the chat box if you're a CoachG member, and I would love for you to share your experience so far. But there's a lot of people in our platform, over 450 active users that aren't here today because they don't have time to block out, and that's the goal. Is we want to get you to a place where you don't have time to attend an event because your business is so damn busy and you're leading people and you're developing people and you've scaled this thing to the finished product. So that is the goal, is whether you're a personal producer to get you to a place where you're ready to duplicate yourself, or whether you got a small team. Now we're helping you develop a structure to where it's not so dependent on you, or maybe you're a large team now and we're just enhancing and scaling what you're already doing well. Again, we're an agency development platform first, and this is where we part ways, okay? So I cannot say enough. The worst thing you can do is do nothing. And I invite you to book a strategy call. I invite you to join our CoachG platform and let our team become your team. That's the coolest thing that I've ever done, is brought in these incredible people and helped them come into your agency and surround you and give you that same growth that we've experienced, that same roadmap, that same path. So look forward to seeing you on a strategy call, and make sure you put that in the box there, book that strategy call. Thank you guys so much for attending today. The one thing I can't do is make a decision for you. You've got to make that decision, book that strategy call. We'll see you on the other side. Thank you guys so much.